Eustace has a 26-year record of living like folks in America lived 175 years ago. He has a 26-year record of training people who want to know how to do this and doing it flawlessly.
At one point, Eustace Conway stood as the most unshaken figure on Mountain Men, calm, skilled, and always in control. Then something shifted, not on the mountain, but behind it. His sudden step back didn't come with clear answers, only silence and speculation. A turning point, tied to loss, pressure, and a choice most didn't expect, began to shape his path. The version of his story shown on screen only tells part of it. What really happened to Eustace Conway goes deeper, and it doesn't end where many think it does. The mystery of Eustace's departure. Eustace Conway's sudden withdrawal from the spotlight sparked a wave of rumors and speculation among fans of Mountain Men. Many wondered if this legendary outdoorsman had slipped away deep into the wilderness, perhaps retreating to a life far removed from the cameras and public attention. Some suggested that Eustace had simply grown tired of the fame and preferred the quiet solitude of his property in North Carolina. Meanwhile, others speculated about a more serious reason, a possible accident or some danger linked to the harsh environment he knew so well, leaving people puzzled about his whereabouts. Despite his larger-than-life persona on the show, Eustace maintained a private side that rarely surfaced in public. This air of mystery only fueled the rumors surrounding his disappearance. His fans, having followed his bold adventures and survival skills for years, were left searching for answers. Was his exit from the series a voluntary retreat, or was there a hidden story behind it? The lack of clear communication intensified the suspense around Eustace's fate. Adding to the confusion was a period of quiet absence, during which Eustace was off the air and out of the public eye. Viewers familiar with his rugged lifestyle and resilience found it hard to believe that he simply vanished without explanation. This gap created endless speculation, with some fears rooted in his exposure to dangerous situations on the show. His survival capabilities made these concerns more surprising. Yet, the unknown remained a source of worry for loyal followers. The official silence that accompanied Eustace's departure created an atmosphere of mystery, which intensified with the official statements that people made during interviews. His future on the show remained uncertain because his answers about it showed doubt and confusion, which suggested he might leave the show, but he did not provide any details about his potential departure. The fans stayed in suspense because he maintained his distance from others while appearing to battle personal problems and doubt his decision to become a public figure. The mystery developed into something more interesting because unanswered questions created suspense, which prepared viewers for the upcoming revelations. The story behind his decision extends beyond his declining television career and his need for personal space. The story connects to important historical moments, which demonstrate his ability to handle both physical and mental challenges. The details about his experience were developed step by step to explain why he left the show for which he had worked at the time. The mystery existed as an unsolved riddle until those actual facts came to light. The relationships he formed with fellow actors and his personal life created a crucial part of this mystery. The audience learned about him through their shared moments, while his emotional response grew stronger when their relationship faced interruptions. His relationship changes brought about relationship loss, which affected both his professional path and his mental health. Personal struggles through difficult situations affected his work-related choices and career path. Eustace Conway maintained his status as a survivalist and wilderness expert despite the existence of unresolved matters regarding his legacy. His skills and knowledge, along with his charisma, draw fans who appreciate his dedication to living in harmony with nature. Mountain Men lost both its main character and his fans who had been following his journey. The complete reasons for his exit from the show remain to be discovered, which would change the public perception of his legacy. Soon, understanding where Eustace comes from and the life he has built offers essential clues to why he left Mountain Men when he did. His story is not only about leaving, but about what led him to that moment of change. The making of a mountain man. Born in South Carolina, Eustace Conway's connection to nature began early in his life, shaped by a childhood filled with exploration and a family environment that valued the outdoors. Growing up with 5 siblings, Eustace was a lively and curious boy who roamed the fields and woods near his home, learning through experience about the natural world around him. This early fascination blossomed into a lifelong relationship with the wilderness, a bond that would ultimately define his identity and career. At only 17 years old, Eustace made a bold choice that set his life apart from most others. He left high school to live in a teepee deep in the woods. This unconventional living arrangement was more than a statement. It was a commitment to embracing a peaceful life that respected and harmonized with nature. There, he quickly adapted to the challenges of wilderness living, mastering skills such as fire starting, hunting, and fishing to sustain himself. These formative years were crucial in building the independence and self-sufficiency for which he became known. Eustace's dedication to wilderness survival wasn't a fleeting hobby. It was a serious pursuit that demanded focus and discipline. Over time, he developed not only practical skills, but also a philosophy grounded in respect for the environment and living sustainably. People began to notice his proficiency, seeking his advice on shooting, trapping, and land management. His reputation grew as he shared his knowledge generously, earning a nickname as a living legend in his community. The media discovered his presence, and Eustace became known to more people through his work in documentaries and TV shows. He developed a stronger connection to nature because of his dedication to finding ways to survive through natural resources. During his teenage years, he gained hands-on farm experience, which developed the skills needed for his future work. The practical training created a solid base that prepared him for upcoming challenges. Eustace received his first major publicity boost when the New York Times published an article about his unconventional lifestyle and abilities in 1987. This moment marked a turning point, elevating him from a local figure to a more prominent voice in the wilderness and survivalist communities. Eustace maintained his authentic self despite gaining public attention because he dedicated himself to simple living while educating people about environmental harmony. His ambitions extended beyond achieving fame because he sought to create a movement that would promote independent living and environmental protection. The Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina became Turtle Island Preserve through his vision, which he established there. He required this prerequisite knowledge about his values, together with his early experiences, because they formed the basis of his major undertaking. The preserve existed as more than a property because it represented Eustace's complete belief system about sustainable wilderness living and intentional existence. The core of his purpose would eventually establish itself as the organization. The period before his rise to fame demonstrated his ability to persevere while remaining true to himself because he followed a path that brought him deep meaning instead of showy success. His background explains why he made his later choices, which included quitting television because they matched his fundamental beliefs. The early life of Eustace Conway provides vital background information about the man whose life developed through unforeseen circumstances. What happened after this foundation was laid brought even more challenges and triumphs, shaping the next chapter of Eustace's extraordinary journey, building Turtle Island Preserve. In the early years of his adulthood, Eustace Conway took a crucial step toward realizing his vision by establishing Turtle Island Preserve on a sprawling 1,000-acre plot in the Blue Ridge Mountains. This sanctuary quickly grew to become more than just land. It was a living classroom where people could learn the skills and philosophies that defined Eustace's approach to life. The preserve embodied a blend of wilderness survival, eco-friendly living, and respect for natural ecosystems. At Turtle Island, Eustace taught a diverse range of traditional skills, fire-making, hunting, trapping, and constructing shelters, among them, that mirrored the ways of the past but remained relevant for modern survival and sustainability. His goal was to help others reconnect with the environment in a meaningful way, fostering a community of learners passionate about living deliberately and close to nature. Over time, Turtle Island attracted visitors of all ages, curious about alternative lifestyles and ecological responsibility. Despite its success, maintaining Turtle Island was not without conflict. In 1998, a serious legal battle erupted when local authorities challenged his use of the land, imposing restrictive rules that jeopardized the preserve's operations. This confrontation forced Eustace to shut down his academy temporarily, a heartbreaking setback for someone whose life was so intertwined with the land. The dispute dragged on for years, eventually escalating to the Supreme Court, where Eustace partially won his case. Eustace maintained his environmental dedication to Turtle Island while facing legal challenges, which tested his commitment to his environmental beliefs. The challenges he faced made his sustainable living practices and self-sufficient existence stronger, which motivated him to continue his advocacy work for these values despite external forces. Turtle Island functioned as a resistance point against standardization, which provided people with a path to discover more authentic natural experiences. The preserve functioned as Eustace's personal sanctuary, where he could express his true self without any need for compromise. The thing he valued most in life reached a level that exceeded all financial gain and public recognition because he refused to sell his property even for multi-million-dollar offers. Eustace found that Turtle Island served as his home, protective sanctuary, and social development space where he could raise himself and his local community. The combination of television exposure and media presence elevated Eustace's public profile, while Turtle Island established him as both a survival expert and environmental literacy instructor. The preserve functioned as both a physical space and a philosophical framework, which helped his influence develop in the community. The program enabled him to share his message with a wider audience, which encouraged people to rethink their existing connections with the planet. The establishment and persistence of this sanctuary demonstrate the strong determination that drives Eustace's character. He developed Turtle Island into a center that showcased both environmental sustainability and indigenous knowledge, despite the various challenges that he encountered. Eustace's early experiences and the foundation of Turtle Island set the stage for both his rise to fame and the complex reasons behind his eventual withdrawal from the spotlight. Challenges and setbacks. Despite his strong reputation, Eustace Conway faced serious challenges that tested both his vision and endurance. In 1998, a major conflict with local authorities over land use rules threatened to shut down Turtle Island Preserve. What he built as a place for learning and sustainable living was suddenly at risk. The pressure forced him to temporarily close the preserve, putting years of work on hold. The dispute turned into a long legal battle that drained time, energy, and resources. It eventually reached the Supreme Court, where Eustace secured a partial win. While it didn't solve everything, it allowed him to continue fighting for his land and purpose. The experience revealed how fragile independent living can be when faced with strict regulations. At the same time, he faced a deeply personal loss. His close friend and fellow outdoorsman, Preston Roberts, battled a severe illness and eventually passed away. The loss hit hard, especially during an already stressful period. These challenges weren't just obstacles, they shaped his path. They tested his strength, pushed his limits, and quietly influenced the decisions that would come next. The loss brought about an enormous impact that directly affected Eustace's decisions during that specific time period. The death of Preston, together with his ongoing battles at the preserve, created a situation that made him wish to avoid public attention. These moments showed his hidden weaknesses because they showed how he dealt with emotional pain while he continued to protect his beliefs. The event changed both his connection to the television program and the way people perceived him in public. Eustace stayed dedicated to his life purpose throughout all of his difficulties. He dedicated himself to promoting sustainable living and environmental conservation through his work, which conveyed a message that extended beyond his television appearances. His challenges made his message more authentic, grounded in lived experience rather than polished performance. The people who heard his genuine message connected with him, and his voice maintained its power even after he encountered difficulties within the wilderness community. The pressures from legal battles, together with his personal loss, created obstacles that prevented him from performing his work duties and meeting the requirements of reality television. The spotlight, which used to showcase his abilities, transformed into a weight that he had to carry. Eustace had to manage 3 different responsibilities, which included Turtle Island's needs, his personal grief, and public expectations, which created complex challenges that negatively affected his mental health and future perspective. Eustace's dedication to Turtle Island remained unbroken throughout his entire life. The location served as his safe haven, which brought him hope because it allowed him to maintain his personal values throughout his struggle against external challenges. This sanctuary proved to him that his mission extended beyond any single obstacle that he faced. These difficulties set the stage for critical moments during his time on Mountain Men, moments that would influence his path and the decisions he made about the future of his career and life. Life on and off. Mountain Men. When Eustace Conway first appeared on Mountain Men, viewers were drawn to his raw skills and steady presence in the wild. The show captured his deep connection to nature, but it didn't always show the pressure behind the scenes. Filming in harsh terrain brought real risks, and one moment in particular revealed just how dangerous that life could be. While working in the Blue Ridge Mountains with Preston Roberts and Eustace Conway, a routine task quickly turned into a crisis. Their truck, loaded with timber, began slipping down a steep dirt road after mechanical trouble. Within seconds, control was lost. The vehicle crashed and was destroyed, leaving behind a moment that was far more serious than anything staged for television. That incident exposed something deeper. It wasn't just about survival skills, it was about facing situations where even experience isn't enough. Eustace's reaction showed real concern, a side viewers rarely saw. It was a reminder that life in the wilderness doesn't offer second chances. At the same time, he was dealing with pressures off-screen, legal battles over his land, the responsibility of maintaining Turtle Island, and the emotional weight of losing Preston Roberts all added up. These weren't small issues, and they didn't fade when the cameras stopped rolling. Living in the wild was already demanding. Sharing every struggle on television made it even heavier. In interviews, Eustace began to sound uncertain about his future on the show. His answers were vague, hinting that something was changing. Fans noticed. Some believed he was ready to walk away for good, while others felt he was simply choosing a different pace. Then came a surprise. Just when it seemed like he might be done, his name appeared again in a new season. It showed that while he might step back at times, he wasn't gone. Through it all, one thing stayed constant: his connection to Turtle Island. That place remained his focus, his purpose, and his ground. His journey on and off the show reveals a clear truth. What viewers saw was only part of the story, and the real reasons behind his choices run much deeper. The personal challenges and transformative experiences of his time on Mountain Men created a backdrop for Eustace Conway's ongoing mission, one deeply intertwined with his values and the future he envisions for Turtle Island and beyond. Current endeavors and legacy. Even after stepping away from television, Eustace Conway never stepped away from his mission. At Turtle Island Preserve, he continues to teach wilderness skills and a way of life built on discipline, simplicity, and respect for nature. What started as a personal vision has grown into a place where people come to learn how to live with the land, not against it. One of his biggest efforts today is Wilderness University, a hands-on program focused on survival, eco-living, and traditional skills. But it goes deeper than technique. It challenges people to rethink how they live and what truly matters. Through this, Eustace is shaping a new generation that values independence and responsibility. He now extends his influence to areas beyond mountain ranges. At major environmental conferences, he delivers his main idea, which states that humans can survive without controlling nature. People from all over the world give him their trust because of that concept. Online, he continues that mission, using social media to connect with thousands who follow his teachings. He has made money through his television work and public appearances, yet he still considers his most important values to be his top priority. Turtle Island is not something he would trade, no matter the price. He has faced several obstacles during his life. He experienced 3 major challenges, which included legal issues, family deaths, and ongoing stress. The difficulties he experienced brought him closer to his life mission. His current work demonstrates that people can still choose to live in a completely different manner. The process of teaching him his educational journey will continue through time because he will keep sharing knowledge with others. Eustace Conway's journey reveals a man who faced immense challenges but never abandoned his commitment to living close to nature. From legal battles to personal loss and media fame, his story is one of resilience and purpose. If you found this deep dive into Eustace Conway's life revealing, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories about remarkable lives and untold adventures. Your support helps us bring these stories to you. And don't miss the next story waiting on your screen, because it reveals a path just as unexpected.